Welcome to Vlog Thursday number 327. That's a lot. Let's see here. Hey, you got fresh RSS set up in your home lab. Awesome. That was a fun video I just did the other day. I didn't have time. Today's been like a lot of things going on today, but I still didn't miss any of the news because it's all there unread in my fresh RSS. I read some of it this morning. That is a real challenge in tech, is keeping up with all the news and everything as it flies by and everything else. But nonetheless, that's why I did that video. That video is actually, how popular is that video? I think it got a lot more views than I expected, which is pretty cool. And by the way, let's start pulling things up, because I'm going to talk about ZFS today, because this is a short day because I got some stuff to do. I'm going to be at the IT and a D event tonight. When that probably means nothing to many of you, but if you're here local in Detroit, it's a gathering of tech nerds that was started by some friends of mine. Bob puts it together. If you Google IT and a D, it's easy to find. It's funny, I have met some people that come there from my YouTube channel, which is pretty cool. But let's go ahead and share screen, talk about things. As I've been trying to follow a process, I will be at MSP GeekCon. So let me pull that up as well. That's coming up soon. I think there's still a few tickets left to MSP GeekCon. So if you are going, that's 30 days away. I finally, I bought the tickets and got the hotel, but then I kind of realized, I got to book a flight. So I finally booked the flight to go there, which officially means I'm going. I mean, I booked the hotel. I just had to figure out the transportation part. So that's the thing. The good news is you need to learn Docker a little better. This might be a fun thing that we can do on a live stream, is wonder how quickly we could deploy fresh RSS Docker. Wonder how quickly we could deploy it. That might be kind of a fun thing, because fresh RSS Docker is actually really easy to do. Portainer is definitely the best way to do it. Not wrong about that. I'll pull up Portainer. That's probably a good one today. We do have a Portainer server in the office. And hey, look, we got a fresh RSS in here. So we even have fresh RSS and a Portainer Docker. If you haven't used Portainer, it's outstanding. It's one of the easiest ways to put a web interface on top of Docker. Portainer itself is also very easy stuff. This is like a couple commands, because Portainer runs in Docker. And I might do a Portainer video because I really think it makes it accessible for people who don't have the time to really learn Docker. And maybe you want to learn it in the future, but maybe you just want to get started using things. I'm going to give a big shout out to Portainer for making it accessible to people. It's one of the easiest ways, hands down, to get started with some of the Docker stuff. So I definitely, I think you would be right. It would take you about 5 minutes to do this. Matter of fact, let's deploy one. Well, let's delete it first. So let's go ahead and destroy my fresh RSS container. There's no data. Well, there's data in it, but nothing I care about. So make sure I'm sharing the right one. So we'll share this tab, zoom it in so people can see a little better. Whoops, how did I knock the key off my keyboard? That seems bad. I need that key. There we go. All right. So let's destroy the container, stop, then remove it. So let's remove it. Just get rid of all the volumes. We're just going to purge this thing right out of here. We do not want that container. We've successfully got rid of that. Let's see, what's the quickest way? If we want to add a container, I think we can literally just put this in. If we put in, where's the Docker command for it? Yeah, we could use this one right here. So here's Docker CLI. Here's Docker Compose. I think we can just use a Docker Compose, which is over here. So I'm just, here's the information. Then we go to this tab here. I think you add it as a stack when you use Docker Compose. Deploy. Did it deploy the container? There it is. All right, fresh RSS is running. There we go. So copy, paste, ready to set up and configure. What I mean, seconds. Now, I had Portainer set up already, so obviously that's one thing. So definitely a big shout out to Portainer for making this easy. I might do some videos on it. You can find plenty of videos on it. I believe Techno Tim has some videos. My friend DB Tech has videos on it. So Portainer is one of your easiest ways you can get going, understanding Docker with a web interface. So absolutely great. Zen Orchestra Free is only paid version for production with 2 or 3 hosts. There's Zen Orchestra is open source. The service delivery model of it is paid. So if you want a fully compiled, working, self-updating instance, that's a paid feature. If you would like to compile it from the binaries, that's the free feature. You can compile it and update it yourself. And I have an entire video of building self orchestra. So yes, technically it's free. So I definitely big fan of Zen Orchestra. Obviously, I have a lot of videos on my channel, but big fan of Portainer here as well. So I see other people like Podman. That one's fine too. I have to understand it more. Copy and paste is risky. Yes, I highly recommend you take the time to learn what these commands mean. I just wanted to point out that if you don't have the time to learn what the commands mean, you can copy and paste and build containers. My preference is to always know more and build them. Matter of fact, here's something interesting. You can build the containers from the command line and they'll still show up inside a Portainer. And I've been working on, and this is an upcoming video I'm going to have on this. So let me pull it up here. I'm going to walk you through this for this particular video. And there we go. I'm almost done with this. This is the Docker Compose for Graylog. By the way, let's do this. Let me throw it out there for anyone who wants it. It's almost complete. I'm going to throw it in the links here. But what I'm going to do is in my video, it's going to be with Docker, but I'm going to walk you through how it works so you understand what each of these mean and why you want what where. Because I'm actually having 2 versions of how I set this up. So there's this one here and then a more extended one of how you would change it to have different share data. But yeah, I'm going to walk you through what all these settings mean, why they matter, how they work, so you understand how to build Graylog and build it again if you need to and rebuild it. So I think it's important to understand what all the commands actually do. Love the fresh RSS videos. They're a Docker container for pushing 2 RSS feeds. I can't seem to find any information on how to allow people to subscribe to things in that way. I don't understand what you're trying to do on that part. So I'm not sure I understand that. Make a mobile backend API. What? No. No, you can manage the free version of Zen Orchestra here, I'll show you because let's share this tab here. Here's 3 hosts being managed. And if you see at the bottom here, it says no support. So that no support is because this is the free version I'm running for this. I have a paid version and a free version. And I do my videos with the free version because I want to make sure things are accessible for home lab people that go, I don't really have the money for that license. I just want to run this in my lab. Well, you're in luck. My entire video, like I did a video diving in deep of how backups work and how a lot of the functionality works in this. And I did it with the free version because I want to make sure people understand this is completely accessible to you, just taking the time to learn how to compile the code. And there's a script that compiles it for you. And I have a tutorial on how to do it. Just about Just about to start building my own network. Thanks to your videos. Awesome. I want to buy a PFSense router, 2100 or 4100 probably. Any Ubiquity switch, 24 port, layer 3 probably also. You don't need the layer 3 in Ubiquity. Any recommendations? My recommendation is if your budget can afford the 4100, it's definitely a faster model, and you don't need layer 3 on Ubiquity. Don't worry about the routing on Ubiquity switches. Isn't that great? It's probably not that necessary, especially just starting out. Docker is easy, and Portainer makes it easier, which is great. Yes. I have Portainer in my home lab. I use it solely for a quick glance UI. I build everything to a CLI, but don't always feel manually typing everything to check them out. Yeah, that's actually what I like about Portainer. It's not breaking Docker in some weird way. It's still Docker, and you can still manage Docker from the command line. You can still build your stuff from the command line and then manage it inside of Portainer. One thing that I'll admit that Portainer makes easier is networking. So if I was setting up some of the networkings and building some of the Mac VLAN stuff, it I found it to be a little bit more intuitive inside of Portainer, but I like it because if you build it either way, if I build it from the command line or build it in Portainer, they're interchangeable. I can build it in Portainer, tear it down from the command line, or vice versa. Build it from the command line and tear it down and build it there. So when I was playing with bridging different things into different networks, I found it pretty easy. The volume management is probably a little bit easier when you want to add CIFS or Windows type share volumes. I found this to be a little bit easier to do in Portainer to build your volume mounts, but that's easier because Tom hasn't taken the time to learn how to do it from the Docker CLI. But it's either way, whichever works is it's a nice. I was sharing the wrong tab. Let me pull up that over here. Share this tab instead. I found it easier for this when you're doing the volume and network management. This is the part that's a lot easier, I think, in Portainer. You know, Portainer has a business edition. What do they charge for it? Get a license. 5 nodes listening. You can go here to get 5 nodes free. Oh, bonus. So the first 5 nodes don't even cost you anything. And what's their pricing for more than 5 nodes? Do they have it? Home and student for $150 a year. All business features, restricted to non-commercial use. Professional with support, $4,000 a year. Not terrible if you're using this to run your core business functions. $4,000 a year, $149 a year, but 5 nodes for free makes it kind of attractive from a business offer too. So not bad. Rancher for container orchestration. Yeah. It's almost always it's between 3 and 4 o'clock. I've been doing it pretty consistently for a while. Hey, you just popped in to say thanks for making these awesome videos. Thanks to you. I have a super stable TrueNAS server. Awesome. And I haven't built, oh, look, awesome. It's very cool. Cockpit is really nice. Well, I didn't know Cockpit could do Podman. That's neat. So you don't even both with EXO? You can, I don't understand that question. So I do. Having trouble multiple LAN signals, PF blocker. Are you planning to update a video sometime soon? Possibly. Chris browse the web better regarding RSS feeds. He uses very cool full text RSS software additionally. Yeah, I just don't care about pulling the extra data because then I have to archive all that extra data as well. That's why I don't want it pulled in there. But he's right. You can do that. I've seen how that works. Any experience with Synology DNS server? I have not tested it. I imagine it works fine, but pfSense runs my DNS. So I've never had a need for another DNS server because all my DNS is in pfSense. So I just leave it there. I figure why do DNS elsewhere if pfSense is already going to be my DNS server? Oh, hanging at the airport in Tampa on your way back. Hopefully your talk went well. Let's see here. Well, a lot of people. You can also use things like Swarm to get HA on Docker direct. Yeah, Docker Swarm. Kube is complex, so depending on the case. This is if you want to read, if I can find it. Reddit outage report. Was it for? I think it's the one from this year. Somewhere down detector. I'm trying to find it. There's a whole debrief Reddit did. I'm trying to find it. So Reddit being down for hours. If you dig around, you can find it. I'm trying to remember where it is now. I don't have it in my RSS feed. But Reddit did a debrief on there. But if you read through all the details as a detailed debrief, you'll learn Kubernetes is hard. So this is the problem when people build overly complicated systems. We just had a client reach out and they had built this really overly complicated Ceph system, but had no one to manage it. All they were trying to do is make sure they wanted high availability for their backups. So they set up a destination Ceph cluster of servers. But without anyone to manage it, some of the updates had broke things and they were having some down. And I'm like, there's an easier way to do these where you create, because they had 4 servers. And I said, why don't you just take the servers, because they're backups targets, and just take the 2 backup jobs and split them between the servers and then send an alert if the server goes down. They're like, yeah, that'll probably work. And it was one of those things like people over engineer it. I've talked to people at 45 Drives numerous times. Like they are really good experts at setting up Ceph storage, but also when you make things overly complicated, someone has to manage it. And it's not, if you don't have either the resources to pay someone externally on contract to manage it or the internal resources to manage it, should you put in something that's overly complicated? I see a lot of home users want to start with Kubernetes. I'm like, that's, if you're like, I'm new to containerization and orchestration, should I start with Kubernetes? Probably not. Start with the yeah, I've definitely seen some kube explosions and what happened here for sure. Oh man. With Proxmox, what TrueNAS version would be best to run core scale? As bad as I don't know. It kind of depends on what your use case is. So either one's fine. I mean, why do I have notifications everywhere? Either one's fine. It depends what you want to use. If you already have Proxmox, you can just go with TrueNAS Core, because if you don't need the containerization features, then just use TrueNAS Core. I've been learning Docker networking. I don't know Kubernetes networking. Are there any noisy UniFi switches? I don't think so. Oh, awesome. Look forward to connecting with you when you we'll talk about your talk. And we got to talk about our talk. And we get to do a new video on a few things. SOX 5 server you can install a VM in. I don't know what you're trying to do. I probably have to better understand the goal to understand what to recommend. Time to party. 10 access point AC Mesh Pro for Home Lab. Just need to get a good PoE switch to handle it. Any opinion on PoE switch? I like the UniFi switches. I think they work great. They're not bad. I have a review I'm still working on some of the Cisco switches. They work, but they're not priced much different than UniFi, but they are at least Cisco switches. But if you want that easy management interface that UniFi provides, then that's one of the reasons we recommend them so much, especially to a lot of home users. Since we were talking a bit about switches, is there a way to enable port only to a device with a specified certificate, real-link camera support, certs, but not 802.x? I mean, you can. I don't know why you would. You're trying to do port only with a specified certificate. Seems like you're trying to overcomplicate something easy, like just tie it to a MAC address. I mean, yes, I know someone could spoof the MAC, but would they? What is these thing you're trying to secure here? Can I make my should? I don't know what challenges you'll run into. Sometimes sound is a problem when you run things in a VM. Sometimes, depending on latency, video playback might be an issue running it in VMs. If those things don't affect you, so. Oh, Jason's green now. Have you explored the 7.2 beta? We loaded it. We did no exploring. We have a machine with it on there, but there was no exploring was done with said machine. And pull it up real quick. By the way, it's going to be a short vlog because I'm going to go in IT and a D. So I got about 15 more minutes before the vlog is over. Hey, look, there's updates, but here's 7.2. So this one's working. Looks like there's some package updates here. Update all. There we go. We'll update more packages. I haven't had a problem with it. So yes. Hey, Tom, best from the UK. My turn for glasses very soon. I'm your age, so yes. Yeah, eventually you need them. Oh, by the way, the glasses that are in the photo, I found these when I was organizing things in my office. Yes, they're safety glasses, but they're also, hold on here, making science from their poor man's Google Glass. So they're my Google glasses. They say Google on them, and I got them from Google. It was an event I went to forever ago when Google was sponsoring local creators at a makerspace, and Google was sponsoring them, and I got glasses. So I just wanted them so I could joke around and say I've got Google Glass. Yeah, Jason's right. 802.1x can use certs, but I'm trying to understand, like, if you're trying to tie a camera device, I don't think you're going to get a camera to tie a certificate to a port. That seems like a hard way to do it, especially maybe a more expensive like Access camera could do something like that, but I really doubt any of the Reolink and you're happy that the firmware works on Reolinks and Amcrest. It's probably got a few bugs in it and a few typos. So I don't think they're going to go all the way to certificate management for those. I could be wrong. Someone prove me wrong and let me know if they actually have that feature. Have you and Chance tried adding Tailscale pfSense RoboSense router? Love the service, but afraid FreeBSD doesn't have the WireGuard built into the kernel, not until 13.12. Yes, but it doesn't. So you're conflating something about how Tailscale works. Tailscale uses the Go implementation of WireGuard, not the kernel version. pfSense does build in the kernel version, but even though pfSense builds it in, Tailscale doesn't take advantage of the kernel version. But if we go to the Tailscale blog, this is going to be some interesting stuff to talk about here. Tailscale, is it just /blog? Probably. Let's go to their blog. And this is really, they've done a lot. They're contributing back to the Go project. And they have now surpassing 10 gigs on Tailscale. So you might remember us from when we made significant related change to WireGuard Go, the user space WireGuard implementation that Tailscale uses. We're releasing a set of changes that further improves the client through Linux. We intend to upstream a change to WireGuard as we did with the previous changes since they landed upstream. With this new set, Tailscale joins the 10 gigs club on bare metal Linux and pushes WireGuard Go. And WireGuard Go pushes for now in kernel WireGuard. Pushes past for now the in kernel WireGuard implementation. So the way they implemented it in BSD with the package add-on for pfSense is also a WireGuard Go implementation, to my knowledge. Christian McDonald talked about this. He's the developer working on it. So it's no problem. It works wonderful inside of pfSense. I don't use OpenSense, so I don't know how well it works there, but it does work fine in pfSense. Trying out Cambium, some switches and apps, super cool features, damn good Wi-Fi, but also clumpy interface, some things. Yeah. Cambium makes some really nice stuff. They make things in the, let me pull them up. Cambium Networks is, oh crap, spill my mints. They make everything with their CN Maestro software to organize it. It's a working software. And Cambium makes nice stuff, but man, their interface is not. Last I looked at it, it wasn't great. So, but functionality, like once you figure out their interface, it does work. They make quality products. I don't land till 8:30, and I doubt you'll be still out then. Oh, message me because I'm planning on being back home by around. I should be back home around 8:30. So let me know. Text me. Because Jason lands and he's going to be at the airport by me. So I live pretty close to the airport for anyone wondering. And here's the bigger issue with this. You're spending time thinking about the wrong or less likely. So what are they going to get to? You have a camera network. Hopefully you have the camera network locked down. My camera network, I don't even bother Mac locking it, because if you were to plug into one of my cameras, you don't even get internet access. It has access only to the camera server that I do keep up to date, that has no known vulnerabilities if I were to expose it. So it's just you'd have to have a camera system that has a known vulnerability in it. Then someone has to pull out the camera, spoof the VLAN, sorry, not spoof the VLAN, spoof the MAC address on it to get to a network that really shouldn't have internet access. So I don't know what threat you're trying to go after. The reality is, you solve these problems. You think about security and what is the most likely thing to happen. Secure all the most likelies. And then if your budget still allows, you have time and budget left, you go, you know what? We could lock these down even further. And, the bigger thing you could do is send out a security alert anytime a camera disconnects. Because if a camera disconnects and someone tries to spoof it, they're spoofing it and the camera's not connected. That's your trigger for security concern, because the camera's not going to keep working while someone takes it down and copies and clones the MAC address. I don't use IPv6 because I don't have a use kit. I don't really have a use case for it. So I have no answers on IPv6. Wasn't there a BSD conference show DCO? Data channel offload is now built into the OpenVPN version that's in pfSense. So you can do data channel offload with that now. Budget vendors use reference implementation and will just work once it's configured into the hardware. Fair enough. Hey, we're not in the flight path. True. Hey, chat server not working. It's your motherboard CPU decided to build a new server. Having trouble picking CPU, Threadripper, Pro, or Epic? I'm not the best expert on that. Please do not run cameras on normal data networks or DVRs. They are security shit shows. He is not wrong. That is on point. You should have a separate, I call it the CamLAN. I don't want these Reolink, Amcrest, insert name of, poor firmware cameras out there, which there are plenty that are budget oriented. So they're popular. But yeah, I don't trust the firmware on them not to be buggy. So don't give those normal network access. Those should be segmented off networks for sure. Some credit for you, by the way. I'm fully TrueNAS for my primary storage, business and personal. So 2 slow years to understand it well enough to depend on. Hey, that's awesome. Big fan of TrueNAS, obviously. I was going to talk about ZFS. I got about 10 more minutes before I got to bounce to the next thing. Let's see. Potentially someone could get the recordings from the MVR. Also, aren't we out here paranoid? No, I'm not that paranoid. UniFi protect views these days. I still have a UniFi protect system. I'm closing all the too many windows that I have open. Here we go. We keep it up to date. It works. I don't know if I'm going to do a new video. I might do a new video on it. So stupid security people just plug them into no VLANs, etc. Yes. We need a Tom VLAN to keep Tom from escaping to the outside world. Yes. Keep Tom on localhost. Well, that's not working today because I'm actually leaving shortly to go to IT and a D. So I'm going to go to that to go out and, have some fun for a minute. Yeah, Hikvision, it's easier you have to get ones that are certified to work on the government stuff. Good news, Synology is certified. Synology, I'm glad they did this right from the get-go. They made their cameras able to pass the certification. So big time bonus for that. Because now they can be used in those type of installs. What I was going to talk about, maybe I'll just make it a separate video because there's always a lot of confusion. Let me go ahead and pull it up somewhere else and pull up one of the other servers and share this tab instead. But I was going to talk about ZFS and sync. I need to do another ZFS torture test. It's been a while since I've done it, but there's so much confusion people have. And they're always like, oh no, Tom, if you don't have ECC memory, I love that argument, you're going to lose your whole ZFS pool. Not likely. It's hard to lose a ZFS pool. Not impossible, but not. ECC memory is not the problem. The next one's going to be people asking about right here. We'll edit the options on this. So let's go to edit options. And people asking about the sync, man, people think you're going to destroy or you're going to lose your ZFS data if you don't have sync on. I'm like, no, you can leave it off. And there's pros and cons. I'm not saying there's no reason. It exists for a reason, but it's not as bad as you think. And yeah, I want to do another video on it and show, because I get it. You don't want to randomly pull plugs out of servers and have them shut down while VMs are running on them, because you're like, that seems like a lot to do. It is. Good news is Tom doesn't mind. So Tom's going to do these things. I'm going to pull the power on some servers and pull drives out. And I actually have an old motherboard, and maybe I'll rip some memory out of it, because this is one of the torture tests I did a while ago, was showing that while I'm writing to the data, I'm just going to pop a RAM stick out, like completely hard lock this machine in a catastrophic way, pulling memory out while it's doing a thing, and show you how it recovers from that. Um, it's one of those things that people get a little, and rightfully so. This is a lot to set up, and you put all your data in it, and you're like, I hope it never fails. But hey, some guy on YouTube can go beat up a machine, and we can go from there. Maybe if I can sacrifice a motherboard, we'll high voltage it. We'll throw some water on it. I don't know. We'll come up with some clever way to destroy it, but show you what happens to the data on there and how you can recover from it. Because not even people realize how this slog works very well. I've done a video on it, but it's long, so people kind of skip it. And I'm like, it works as a journal. Sometimes it's different than the way people think it works. But there's things that happen when you don't have that journal. There's things that happen when you pull that journal out, and there's ways it recovers from it. And as long as you understand those methodologies, that's how you get a better understanding of how to recover from these. That's a yes for the torture test. Yes. It'll definitely be I like doing that. It's a lot of fun. It just takes a lot of time to set up and do. But I haven't done a video like that in a while. I did one before. It's a popular video I did, and it gives people a better confidence to how these things work. And I don't mind, especially if it's an older system, whatever, it's going to get into recycling anyways. If we destroy some old motherboard, but then show you how you can have a catastrophic failure of a motherboard, grab the drives and import the pools into another system and recover from that reliably. I think that's the value people get, is making sure, okay, I'm confident that if everything goes south here in a catastrophic way, I think this sounds like a fun video. Let's just destroy hardware while we do it. So, I mean, Jason surely wants to help me do this. let's just break things together. It's fun. It's entertaining. And we're tech people, so we like, we got to take our aggression out on some of the old hardware, especially printers. If you look somewhere, this is before I leave, I'll leave you with this. Somewhere I probably have it. We'll throw this out here. This video exists on my channel. We did stuff a
Ralph is loading the mortars.
Printer.
Ralph is loading the mortars here.
So we stuck mortars in a printer, and then we'll go. Let's just jump to the fun part, right? There we go. So maybe we'll integrate fireworks into this. Hold on. There we go. That does exist on my channel. If you look for like 4th of July printer, we stuffed the printer with fireworks for the 4th of July a few years ago. Because why not? I think I got a couple angles of this. So, but yeah, I mean, can ZFS survive fireworks? There's the real question. I mean, if you destroy the drives, you destroy the drive. So the kinetic, the impact of that could definitely be a problem. I think do I have, let me look, one more video on this. Yeah, I did an Oki Data one too. It's probably one of the only. There we go. Destroyed that one too. Maybe we'll destroy another printer for the 4th of July. I don't have a high-speed camera, but maybe my Pixel camera 4 years later is better than the camera I had back then. This is just a GoPro. So there we go. I'll leave you with that. Only in the USA. Yes. I know people like DIY, but let's see, the one thing I've learned over the years is DIY on a backup can cause a bad day when it's super bad. Supported solutions are good for the last line defense. yes, you should really understand your how your backups work, and untested backups are wishful thinking. So you should go through this like a process to make sure you understand how the backups work, how you can restore them. You should walk through the process. You should have things going to, if you can, a whole separate thing and walk through a whole DR. So yeah, slow-mo guys talk about how we can save ourselves from catastrophic failure. Yeah, that Oki data printer, man, it was fun sending it off to the sunset. The printer cartridges made for some nice colored. All right. That's all I have. I'm going to go do my next thing. Thank you all for joining. If I feel inspired, maybe I'll do a Saturday or Sunday live stream as well. Thanks everyone for watching that Fresh RSS video. How many people watched that one? That one did surprisingly well. 7,000 views on the Fresh RSS video. So it's a more popular topic than I expected. So nonetheless, maybe I'll do some follow-ups on there. So there's plenty to talk about, pulling in more text and why you do or don't, or why Tom doesn't bother doing that. But it's we revealed the gender of the printer. Did some ZFS torture testing last week. The toughest thing happened was the pool IO got suspended and the host needed a power cycle to gain access to pool back. Yeah. So ZFS recovers so well. I have my video called ZFS is a cow. Once you really dive into the details of a copy on write file system, you're like, that is a lot of clever engineering. So it gives you a better confidence in your data. It's really complicated to make something this reliable, but that complexity doesn't work against itself. It does make a really good, reliable system. Nonetheless, I'll quit ranting about ZFS and all the wonders of it. I do have a shirt that, because someone says I was part of a cult of ZFS, so I do have that shirt available in my shirt store. I'll give a shout out to my shirt store, which is just lawrence.video.swag. We might be switching to a new store soon. I haven't decided, but I definitely have more things on there. I'm trying to find which is the best store to run things in. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that just yet. But hey, we have a lot of shirts and mugs, so you can keep your cloud at home and all kinds of other fun nerd stuff on there. So if you're interested in the shirts I wear on the channel, that's where you find them. All right. Thanks again. Later.